Hey guys, here's a riddle for you. What happens if you take the gameplay of Metal Gear Solid 1 and remove all the stealth from it?
You still have a great plot.
No, the gameplay, Tim. We're talking in terms of gameplay.
But the story is part of the game. Oh, okay, I'll drop that.
Okay, fine. I'll make it easy for you, too. What happens if you take Metal Gear Solid 1, remove the plot, and remove the stealth?
Why are you even having a game?
Yeah, welcome to Mortal Kombat Special Forces, everybody.
This intro, man. Okay,
Jova, help me here. Jova.
Props for not having the creepy FMVs like Tekken, but this is not a good alternative.
Jova.
One thing I am learning, it's that, wait, Kano, aren't you supposed to be dead at this point? Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, Jova, help me out here.
Trevor.
I can't help but get a blaxploitation vibe with this intro.
Blaxploitation. Jarek, why?
Oh my god, they actually brought back Jarek.
Didn't Jax drop you off a cliff?
It was after this. Basically, the only four characters we need to care about in this game that are recurring are Jax, our protagonist, Kano, because, well, it's Kano, Jarek, because he's present, and the ninja that is here called Tremor, because of all characters, he will be the one referenced in future games. Everyone else is just literal fools.
So, essentially, this game takes place before Mortal Kombat 4, I guess?
That's the thing, Jova. The plot in this game is barely existent. It's hard to even place where the hell this takes place.
So from what I am learning is that Mortal Kombat had one hell of a dork age around the time. There was this, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Mortal Kombat Mythologies, the Sub-Zero. Oh yeah, and did I mention Mortal Kombat Annihilation happened? Also, Mortal Kombat 4 was apparently not received that well. Oh sure, yeah, we had an interesting time commentating on it. But back in the day, Mortal Kombat 4 didn't.
Nowadays, Jova, nowadays people do look at the game with better eyes because the endings are just so undeniably hilarious that. It's like I told you in the commentary, Jova. I just cannot bring myself to dislike that game. I just cannot.
Oh, absolutely. But I do get why people would have hated it back then.
Okay, Pedro, you wanted an answer. This is the very first in the timeline, even before Sub-Zero.
What?
Wait. Wow. So this is wait. What?
Hold on. Cutscene.
Jerk.
Yeah.
Jax, we have an urgent situation that demands your attention.
What's the problem?
It sounds like a porno voice.
We have a break at the Special Forces maximum security facility.
I mean, porno voice
will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
To be fair, porno voice actors do actually sometimes turn in a very good performance.
Yeah, there's a little character called No Face.
They apparently are hiding out in an abandoned warehouse on the south side of town.
Alright, check this out. Remember how awesome Jax's voice actor in 4 was? Check out this guy trying to, sound emote. Well, it's after this conversation, actually.
He just...
For the record, Jova, this was his literal first actorial role.
Yeah.
he sounds like a robot.
Oh, and bear in mind, Jax's voice actor in 4 was Ed Boon, that's not his main job, voice acting.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I may say this, from what I've heard, Ed Boon may have been a better voice actor for Jax than this guy.
Oh, just you wait, Jova. Wait till this FMV ends. That's where the end of this FMV will see it right now. Oh no, so the Black Dragon, aka Kano, and his goons killed all of Jax's friends. So let's see what his reaction is to all this. Hold on, Pedro.
Kano, you're gonna pay for this.
Cherry's that because it sets the tone. Not even joking.
Yep. Okay. It's not just the fact that the emotion doesn't match, but look at how he was posing. He looks like he's screaming up to the
he was
sky
supposed to
in
do
that
the
pose.
Kano.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
But okay,
Hold on.
was that line literally just dubbed in, and I get what you mean by this, but I mean, it feels like the kind of thing where somebody is acting something, but then obviously somebody dubbed over them. Also, if this is like at the start of the timeline, why does Jax have his bionic arms? Wasn't he supposed to only get those by Mortal Kombat 2? Because, supernatural forces.
I don't know what to tell you. The only. Let me see if I actually ever. Give me a second. But the only source that I found that tells something about the plot mentions this. Maybe it's written in the manual. I don't know.
So this was one of the very few, if not the only, games in the series to not have any involvement from either Ed Boon or John Tobias. In fact, Tobias, along with a few Midway employees, left the company around this game's development.
Very good. Director John Walsh, producer Michael Gottlieb, programmers John Walsh, Jonathan Murphy, and Daniel Markham. It was probably done by a subdivision of Midway.
I'm not even
a top-down perspective.
Apparently, Carlos Pezzina is still credited as one of the artists.
I get that it was this guy's first role, but Jesus Christ, Ed Boon did a better job acting this character than you did.
And he's not even black, last I checked.
There you go. There you go. Every source that I can find, either like Wikipedia article or TV tropes, mentions about this being the first in the timeline. So I get it that it's like something from the manual. Keep in mind, it's pointless anyway, because the reboot timeline essentially discontinues all of these anyway, so don't worry.
So, how's the gameplay?
Clearly, Ed Boon should start voice acting in the games more often, since he tends to be better than the actual voice actors.
Okay, I actually haven't seen anything with this guy, because this guy still, Craig J. Harris, he's still getting roles to this day, to be fair. But it's mostly, again, TV stuff, but to be fair, he was in stuff already, also in 2020 for reference. So he still has like a career by all accounts. Well, apparently he seems to be more good also for a stunt double.
So like Dwibs asked earlier, how's the gameplay?
Okay, so Mortal Kombat Special Forces is a 3D action game, I guess.
Why is the camera so inconsistent?
Well, remember, Joe, it's the Metal Gear Solid type of camera, where it changes when you enter into a room and stuff like that. The difference is Metal Gear Solid was all about avoiding combat as much as possible. What they basically... My guess, Joe, is somebody at Midway played Metal Gear Solid and thought, you know what, we should make a game just like this, with the exact camera, exact same controls and stuff like that. However, we're going to suck out all the stuff out of it and focus on combat.
Because of probably another guy came in who was really, really a fan of movies like Die Hard and Lethal Weapon, and was like, hey guys, we have a character like Jax, why don't we make a game that stars him and he has to recreate that kind of movies that have people like Chuck Norris or Steven Seagal in it.
The only guy who was in the previous games who was involved in the making of this game was Dan Forden.
Also Carlos Pezzina.
But Carlos Pezzina is in every game too.
But I was adding what you said.
So basically Carlos Pezzina doing his usual shit, whereas Dan Forden once again doing the music. Yes, go ahead, Joe.
So does the game at least function properly?
Yes, that's one of the main reasons why I still rebel against people saying that this is worse than Mythologies, because as bad as
people say this is worse than Mythology.
Well, usually when people talk about the worst Mortal Kombat game, people say this one. I disagree. That game, I still get the feeling people who say that haven't actually played throughout the entirety of Mythologies, like I have, because if you play both of these games from beginning to end, as I have, as you can see through the footage that proves that, trust me. Playing through Mythologies from beginning to end is way more frustrating than playing through this to the end. This game is just boring. Now, of course, some people may argue, well, I'd take a frustrating game over a boring one. Well, I guess that you got me there. But at the same time, Jesus Christ, playing Mythologies pissed me off so much and was just so painful of an experience. At least with this one, it's functional. It functions. The controls actually make sense to an extent. Go ahead, Teo.
So, Teo, as somebody on the other side of the tracks, what's your argument?
It's mostly what Pedro said. Like, I'll take something that is painful and annoying over something that is a bore fest. It doesn't help that this tackles one of the more boring aspects of the Mortal Kombat mythos, the Special Forces against the Black Dragon. Hooray! But at least mythologies had part of the more mystical stuff involved in its plot.
I get it. You're a guy who definitely prefers the more supernatural angle of things rather than the more realistic.
I think you made it pretty clear over the years, Jova.
Not just that. Not just that. It's also the fact that even without taking that into account, there's no. Okay, you remember that FMV we just had? There's not going to be any more FMVs until the end of the game. The rest of there's only in between level cutscenes, and it's just those text calls between Jax and Gemini, and that's it. Aside from that, there's no story whatsoever in this game.
Again, Jova, it's pretty clear that they were trying to recreate the feeling of Metal Gear Solid, but had nowhere near the production value that Konami had at the time in order to have the presentation needed, aside from the very basic gameplay. Which, to be fair, on an arcade point of view, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, that's the primary thing. I'm using the gun because here's the thing about this game. To its credit, this game does employ Jax's combos. You can even do Jax's typical special moves that you see from the previous games.
You also see from the menu that it also carries the RPG elements of the mythologies.
That being said, though, the guns basically render the fighting mechanics useless, because why bother? Just use the guns. They're much more efficient at killing the goons, you know.
Reality ensues.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Mortal Kombat always implied that a gun wouldn't really do much well in battle.
Well, no, guns and weapons have always been allowed in Mortal Kombat, but that's not the issue. The issue is that this game... Okay, here's the thing. You want to make an action shooting game with Jax. Okay, that's fine. There's a perfectly logical thought there. It's just that they didn't really think this through. First of all, why Metal Gear Solid as the base? Like of all games, when I think which game should we use to mold our new Mortal Kombat spin-off on, I wouldn't think Metal Gear Solid. Stealth and Mortal Kombat don't really mix.
No, at all. Unless you're something like, say, Cabal, maybe, and you need to perform stealth takedown or something. I don't know. I can think of that might be something, but again, not my first thought. If I need to have a game like with Jax in it, my first... Oh, Jesus Christ. Also the texture. My first thought is simple, you know. Jax and Sonya Blade, beat 'em up, Streets of Rage clone. Boom. Easy enough.
Maybe Warner Brothers should...
Okay, I guess...
Go ahead.
Okay, you could argue that maybe they wanted to do the Metal Gear Solid option because technically Jax and Sonya do have some military backgrounds here and there, so I could see them doing some covert operations here and there. Like, I will say this: I could see there being a basis for this. Hell, honestly, you know what's more ironic is the fact that Sub-Zero's game wasn't stealth, because you know he's literally a freaking ninja. Guys were supposed to be all about
remember, you need to make things clear. He's not ninja. He's Lin Kuei.
For me, it's one of those things where I'll at the very least grab what I can, in the sense that this game, at the very least, gameplay-wise, is functional. It's boring as crap, don't get me wrong, I agree. But at the very least, I can actually, you know, like, at the very least, I'm not about to burst a blood vessel every time I'm playing. So there's that's at the very least a plus in my eyes.
Anyway,
also, as you can see, this is a where the fuck do I go games.
Because trust me, there's a lot of frustration from me playing Mythology that you haven't seen, because, you know, the playthrough would be 5 hours long if you did. So
another thing, back to what I was saying about the guns here. My point wasn't just so much about how, oh no, guns are breaking. No, my point was that guns have been a thing, yet they're way more effective here than they are in Mortal Kombat, essentially.
Yeah.
And granted, you could argue maybe it's because, oh, some of the people you face are tougher and can take bullets. Let's not forget, there are still some normal folk who you can take bullets here and there. Like, here's my point here. I guess maybe you could argue it's more realistic, but why not balance out the guns with, you know, the actual fighting moves, in the sense where have the fighting moves be stronger, whereas have the guns be weaker but still effective?
I don't know, Jova. I don't know what to tell
This
you.
game lacks balancing. More news at 11. Like, I'm really shocked about that, Jova.
It also has to do with the fact that okay, you ripped off Metal Gear Solid. How about also ripping off the things that made Metal Gear Solid easy to traverse through, like the map screen? You know, because this game doesn't have a map screen. As a result, there can be times in this game where it's very easy to get lost and not really know where to go to. Because the environment, as you can see, the environments aren't exactly, you know, a sight for sore eyes. So,
how about a map? Would it kill them to give us a map?
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid had a map. Why can't this game have a map?
Oh, please tell me they didn't also copy the god-awful key card system.
No, well, there are key cards, Jova, but it's not on the. There's not a tier system of cards. Instead, you find a locked door. You need to find the key card that is respected to that specific door. So go look for it. That's the basic gist of it.
What about the backtracking to the first bit of the first level to get an item that is conveniently there?
Well, there is no backtracking in this game. I can tell you that.
I know. I was just joking.
Unlike Metal Gear Solid operated on a big area that was divided in sections type of structure, this one has a level by level structure. So.
Yeah. So is this all you do?
Basically, pretty much, yeah.
Fun.
Actually, okay, gotta be honest, I have a bit of lazy memory about this. Did this particular design of Jax return as an alternate costume in future games?
Well, his outfit in Deadly Alliance kinda resembles this one, kind of. I mean,
but I'm guessing that's an overall no in regards to directly from this game.
No. Ed Boon has flat out disowned this game, Jova.
Okay, I can tell you this, Jova. At least for a normal type of costume, no. But, okay, 11, like I mentioned, offers a lot of customization, so I wouldn't be too surprised if these can potentially show up there, but I haven't checked myself.
I wouldn't mind. I don't really have a problem with Jax's new outfit. It looks fine.
Let me see if there is something...
And that's basically it. Like, there's not even any story in the levels themselves to, you know, keep things interesting. You know, it's just you right here with one of without a doubt Dan Forden's weakest score ever, just shooting random mooks with.
Wait, this is a score.
It's more ambient than anything.
Yeah. I mean, Dan Forden is good at ambient, but yeah, this is one of those cases. I get the feeling Dan Forden just couldn't be bothered to get inspiration for this one as well. Because not that I blame much, because yeah, this game doesn't exactly inspire creativity from any artist when you look at it, does it?
Okay, Pedro, I hate to say it, but we're barely in this game, and already I'm seeing a few points in Sub-Zero's favor. Like, Sub-Zero felt like it had more of a personality than this game.
Oh, it does.
I mean, granted.
It does, Joe, but don't get me wrong. The game Sub-Zero add more story, and like you said, add more personality. It's just that, trust me, when you're actually playing both, like it all depends. Would you rather be bored or would you rather be frustrated and annoyed? It really boils down to those two options, Jova. So what are you are you the guy who prefers a frustrating game, or do you prefer a boring game?
Okay, I'll say this. Context is always the key. There are some cases where I would prefer boring over point blank bad, or times when I prefer point blank bad over something boring. Usually when I prefer something that is just downright bad, it's mainly when it's bad in a sense where, okay, I can break this game in a sense, or still have, fun with it. Then there's stuff that's just plain bad, which just makes the game terrible every time I try to have fun with it. i.e. Mighty Number 9. Seriously, every time I tried to find something enjoyable with that game, something came up to piss me off. The kind of bad games I enjoy are the kind that I can laugh at the very least. And yeah, I could argue maybe I could have laughed at Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero, or maybe I might not have been laughing as much if I played it myself. But that said, if I had to look at the two games as a whole... trust me, I understand your point. In terms of watching footage of them, yeah, Sub-Zero is way more entertaining to watch. But I'm speaking as someone who actually played both of them. Like in terms of, when you're actually playing both of them,
I can tell you that the actual gameplay experience of Mythologies is way more painful.
Here's our first boss fight, by the way, against No Face.
Oh.
Yes, we're actually done with level 1, by the way.
And no introduction or anything. It's
This
just,
Nope.
oh,
shows
we
up.
need to-
Again, this guy also doesn't have a voice. He just calls
Yeah,
No Face
the
for
game
no
also
reason.
the game also copies Metal Gear Solid boss method, where we have these bosses that are part of a specific organization, and they each have their own unique abilities, But yeah, like Teo said, there's no context, there's no personality given to make the fights more cool or interesting. There's no Psycho Mantis equivalent in this game, I can tell that. Let's just fill his body with holes until he dies. There you go.
Also, what is going on with the music for this boss fight?
And the boss
I don't know.
And the boss battles aren't even interesting. They just amount to a battle of attrition between you and the NPC.
No Face particularity is that he has a flamethrower. Hooray!
As for your question, Jova, I don't know what to tell you. This is by far Dan Forden's worst effort.
But no, I checked in the meantime, and aside from the Deadly Alliance and Armageddon Red Beret costume, which is the one that gets closer to this, no. This particular costume doesn't seem to be appearing even in the customization of 11.
Yeah, I'm okay. I just had a little fire to snuff out.
Terminated.
Back at headquarters.
Well, Jax, the deal is, these bad boys have more in common than we thought. Turns out that they were all card-carrying members of Kano's little club, the Black Dragon. Isn't that the gang that gave you so much trouble some time ago?
Sure was. Any sign of the escapees?
No, our troops have swept the area, but they seem to have slipped by us. We were hoping you would be able to track them down, being the man on the inside.
There's an exit ahead of
Okay, a bit of a pause between each line, please.
Be careful,
No.
don't scratch those big metal arms.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Oh, by the way, just for letting you out, Gemini is voiced by Kimberly Barlow, a person who has only 2 actual roles at all. This game, and a doctor cameo in the thriller called Dual Mania, released in 2018.
Oh, look, Teo, your favorite, the sewer level.
Hooray! Again.
Wow, only on level 2. This game's getting to business quick.
It's very
I see.
promising.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
Okay. Let's be fair.
I'll be generous. I've seen worse sewer levels, so.
Honestly, I'll take this sewer level over Mythology's sewer level, because that sewer level. No, it's one of the main reasons. Like if you pit both games in terms of sewer level competition, Mythologist by far beats this game out in the frustration level, because this sewer level, to its credit, is not a maze. So that alone puts it
Really?
above the.
It's a bit easier also compared to the previous skyscraper level, Jova, yes.
Not gonna lie, that's kind of amazing though. Like, in any case where a sewer level isn't a maze, because for some reason it seems to be an unwritten rule that those often have
I
to
get
be
the
a
idea,
maze.
the only reason it isn't, Jova, is because the devs did not have much time to develop the game in general. It's pretty much clear that this is kind of a cheap cash grab attached to the Mortal Kombat license that Midway threw in to capitalize on Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's a bit of more spicy things on development. There we go. Series co-creator John Tobias needed to work on a series of platform games to expand the MK universe, including titles centered on Baraka and Liu Kang. Only the latter was actually released with Shaolin monks, despite having sat on the drawing board for many years. Special Forces was released only on the PlayStation, but it was supposed to also be released on Nintendo 64 and Dreamcast. Many of the Midway game staff, including John Tobias, left the company in 1999 for various reasons, while the game was still in production. The plot of Special Forces, which was originally included Sonya Blade, apparently, was greatly revised following Tobias' departure, and the game was rushed to completion, like fucking clockwork.
Yep. There are total.
Oh,
Tobias said about the final version, I really never played it. I saw it at the free, I maybe played for like 5 minutes and never played after that. So I'm not really familiar how it ended up. Ed Boon later recalled, I didn't work on Special Forces. The game and project were riddled with all kinds of problems. I could write a book on that.
so let me get this straight. Even John Tobias, maker of the ever so acclaimed mythology Sub-Zero disowned this game.
Again, Joe, it seems that he had a specific direction instead with it, but when he left when he actually left the company, they instead decided to retool it from scratch into whatever they want to do, and he wasn't really pleased with the final result. Now, going through track of what mythology was, I get the idea that the first result was gonna be on the kind of the same level of mythology instead in terms of dickishness, as in like traps all over the place, and a lot of trial and error. But and then they essentially streamlined it when he actually went away, so that's why he doesn't like it.
So what you're saying is that essentially, if this game had been properly finished, it would have been just as dickish, if not more, than.
That's my assumption anyway, Jova. Don't take it
for
granted.
You see, Jova, Ed Boon and okay, well, actually no, Ed Boon managed to succeed just fine without John Tobias, so I guess the metaphor wouldn't work. It really is one of those cases where John Tobias boils down to this. John Tobias was a great artist, as in he was great at character designing, he was great at drawing art, like his comic book, his original, remember the Mortal Kombat comic book that was in the commercial on the Mortal Kombat 1 arcade game that we did? That comic was actually included in the crypt of Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. You can read the entire comic there.
Nice.
And that comic tells the story of the original Kung Lao. I only found that out recently when I recorded that game. I wasn't even aware that the comic was in the crypt. I never actually got around to completing the entire crypt because it takes a long time to collect all the enough coins for that. No, he was a great artist, definitely. It's just that he wasn't a good game designer at all, and that's why Ed Boon was the one doing the designing in the original games. And he also wrote the story, but he also had other people with him to be able to turn those ideas of his into actual good stories and characters. When he was finally given full creative, again, he's the George Lucas of Mortal Kombat, basically. Like he has good ideas, but he doesn't know how to implement them into an actual proper finished product. Okay. To another thing. Yeah, this sewer level actually, the only major issue with this sewer level for me is the fact that it's very, very big. Like it is longer than it needs to. But it is at the very least, like Teo said, straightforward. So there is that at least. There you go.
Again, that's pretty much it on what you do. Aside from the code calls, Jax doesn't have anything to say.
Nope.
The bosses don't really have much of a dialogue. You know, it's very
bare bones,
shallow.
Yep. There's also the fact that, but yeah, like it was, yeah, of all the, and there you go, yeah. And for the record, in this game, in this very same level, there are holes that look just like that, and you'll die if you fall in them. So you have to know in advance that particular hole brings you to the next section of the level. Thanks, game.
Probably a remnant to Tobias' original idea.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, Jova, of the 3 Mortal Kombat spin-offs that were ever made, only 1 was good. So.
Which one was that?
Shaolin Monks. That's the why? Because unlike the other spin-offs, Shaolin Monks was directed by Ed Boon, and that makes all the difference. Shaolin Monks basically is exactly what this game should have been. It's literally, like Teo said, a Streets of Rage style beat 'em up where you can play as both Liu Kang and Kung Lao. It's basically an alternate sequel to the first game. And it actually is really good. It's fun.
I get the idea that it might be also because, like it was, like I mentioned, it had enough time to be left in the oven to cook. Maybe.
I'm trying to think of it. Yeah, Kung Lao never got to be in the movies, did he?
Nope.
Weird.
Okay, everybody. So we'll try our best to not fall asleep in the next 4 parts of this. So
I don't want to fall asleep in a sewer. Thank you. See ya.
I don't know what would kill me first: the stench or the sicky and the sewage water.
all right, see ya, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.